some other local issues that we have to, like fire and rescue and RSA fallout and all that sort of things. I think it would really be a benefit to the county if we could have a better comprehensive overall strategic view of where we are and where we wanna go, and I think that's an excellent place to start.
Thank you, Jim. Any other comments? All right, broadband update, Mr. Weaver.
Okay, Alan, if you'll start with the map first, and then we'll go into a timeline. I condensed a little bit from the planning commission workshop. So what you had before you, I'm gonna use this to explain several different things. When Madison County applied for the VATI grant, it was challenged as far as the service providers and what they could serve. So when you look at that map, CenturyLink was one of the two that challenged, and Chantel was the other internet provider that challenged the VATI grant. What you see depicted in yellow would represent what's already approved or what's getting ready to be finalized. It's known as the RISE project, and hence Firefly will be the provider of that yellow area. What you see depicted, and I don't know if they call that orange or red, whatever you feel that darker color is to you, that area is the primary challenged area of CenturyLink. There's a small portion, I think, of Chantel that's up near that Banco Crickersville area, but a very small portion. What you see that's outlined a big circle in red, that as it's basically unserved or underserved, is where Chantel, a lot of Chantel's area, they were looking to cover. What we've learned through this process is Chantel, as of last week, notified the county that they will be backing out, which is what they had already notified Rappahannock County that they were doing there. So we got that in writing. I got it in an email at this time. I have it in writing. I asked for a formal letter so we can put that on our file as well as DHCD. But DHCD, who's administering, they're kind of the hierarchy with all the VATI administration stuff. They are aware of this. So that's with Chantel. The board had authorized me to send a letter of intent. I have found out that the letter of intent to apply for the next round, so it's FY23 VATI application. I will send that letter to DHCD. That has to be received by, I believe it's July 7th. We're not going to wait for July 7th, but we will make that notification, the intent to apply. From there, I would recommend that the board authorize me, because I don't think we did that when you said letter of intent, an RFP to issue a request for proposal for providers for that area that you see outlined in red, because our citizens currently don't have a coverage plan, and that would allow us to apply for that area for the next round of VATI. What we're working on, that darker color, the CenturyLink area, and we're trying to get a meeting scheduled this week. It's a follow-up of our last MOU discussion. There's an MOU that the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission, which Campbell, Greene, and Madison counties are part of that discussion of an MOU with CenturyLink. It will determine if we move forward with CenturyLink or not. What you have depicted would assume that we move forward with CenturyLink. If we do not, then that area turns yellow, and that becomes part of the RISE project. That is already funded. The VATI project required a 10% match, so it's roughly over a $25 million project. Madison's local share was a little over $2.5 million, to which we were a benefit of ARPA funds. So pretty much all of our ARPA funds were designated for the board approved an ARPA spending plan, and it was designated for broadband. So there's monies there to do both the yellow and the darker color there. It just depends on who we're serving. If it stays the same, 2.1 million will cover the RISE project, and a little over 400,000 will cover CenturyLink's portion. But again, I believe we would need an RFP to get out there to start getting some interest for an IP in that Jordan, Syria area. So go to the next, slide, please, Alan. I want to show you the time. Yes, Mr. Chairman, you have a question?
I'm jumping ahead of you a little bit. Are you gonna come back to us at the June 14th meeting and ask us to move forward with an RFP?
Yes, sir. So right now, before we come back to our next meeting, I would have already sent that notice of application due. So if you look at the timeline, that's due on July 7th. We're gonna make that notification. And then, yes, at June 14th, I'll come back, I'll have a board report formally making a request of an RFP. Tracy, give her kudos, she's kind of been working on a draft of that now, and she sent that today, it's under my review. And then whatever wordsmithing, I'll get that over to Sean to put final eyes on it. But yes, sir, I'll make that official request at the June meeting. So this is your timeline. So I talked about the notice of intent due by July 7th. The applications are due by August 25th. As you can see, you go through, DHCD will post those applications on the website. Any challenges, just like we were challenged last time, they're due by October the 6th. And it kind of gets into this back and forth, with ultimately an anticipated announcement of award late December of 2022, which is consistent with their last award announcement was late December 2021. So that is the timeline we're working off of. Is there any questions from the board?
Questions? Or you may get into that sooner than later.
That's right. Let's see. Yes. It's odd that challenges are due before awards are made, but I guess, so everybody that responds to it, I know that's the way it was last go around.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, Mr. Yao, an important criteria, which I think is gonna shake some folks or maybe reduce challenges. They changed the upload, download requirements now. I think it went from like 20 or 25 MIPS to now it's 100. So basically everybody's looking at a 1 gig kind of symmetrical type of approach. So that's what Chantel shared while they're backing out. It didn't make sense to try to build something that the last round standards when the definitions are changing for the next round of VATI.
It seems like we're on a good timeline. Let's get the letter sent immediately. We know we have needs, and then let's get the RFP process so we can start to identify and understand what our costs are.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Well, we're done with information. This is most information and correspondence we ever had.